downfall of the old school Zelda formula. You have this vast, expansive map to explore, but often only one very specific way to progress the game. Just like Metroid, it is easy to miss one subtle cue and spend 30 minutes wandering in circles, accomplishing nothing. People who love these games have played them so many times they can no longer see the unintuitive faults, which is probably why I enjoyed this game the most on the third playthrough. Above all else, it's the weirdness of this Zelda that makes it so special, and one of the weirdest things about it is how smooth the game plays. You compare Super Mario World to Super Mario Land 2 on the Game Boy. In terms of gameplay, they aren't even close, baby. Super Mario World is way more precise and smoother to control, with so many more power-ups and mechanical flourishes. Typically, Super Nintendo games had better graphics and smoother controls than their Game Boy counterparts. However, Link's Awakening plays more like a sequel to A Link to the Past, and that's because it was developed by the same team 2 years later. In Link to the Past, Link is like a fucking pinball. If you get hit, you get bounced. If you hit an enemy, you get bounced. Look at this thing in the middle. Guess what that does? It bounces you. Now combine that with dungeons littered with holes in the ground, spike traps, conveyor belts, and ice-covered floors. Link's Awakening incorporates all of the fun power-ups and twists from the Super Nintendo game into a more polished package, using smart design choices to make Link stronger, more stable, and more agile, all while operating under much heavier hardware constraints. On the Game Boy, this was a technical marvel, but for me, it's the Switch version where it really sings. 2D Zeldas have always been more focused and tighter paced than the 3D titles, but the remaster takes the most compact Zelda and squeezes it into a tiny, glossy gem. It makes for a game where every step you take feels like 10, and soaring across the map with your hookshot is pure magic. Once you've been indoctrinated by the goofy-ass video game logic of Zelda, this is maybe the most replayable game in the series. But it's not the gameplay that made me fall in love with this game. It's the story. Zelda Link's Awakening. It's a funny title, because first off, Zelda isn't even in this game. Secondly, you don't even play as Link, you play as a guy called Blanca, and there's Mario characters everywhere and evil Kirby, and get this, the entire game takes place inside of a fish's dream. I'm always telling you guys about how there needs to be more video games where the entire thing takes place inside of a fish's dream. This game not only delivers on that very specific request, this game invented the fishing minigame. The remastered visuals have this plastic sheen suggestive of a child playing with toys. The houses are full of little details that color in the person living there, and even though this game has a great soundtrack, it is almost never referenced in subsequent games, further reinforcing its uniqueness. Legendary game director Takashi Tezuka cited Twin Peaks as one of his major inspirations here. The world of Koholint is dreamlike and mysterious, but populated by quaint villages full of oddball characters, and there's an owl. Even stranger, the plot of this game is very similar to David Lynch's later film, Mulholland Drive. Most Zelda games hinge on a battle between good and evil, where your goal is to save the world, but in Link's Awakening, you gradually discover that your goal this time is to destroy the world. If Link doesn't wake up from the dream, he'll drown in the ocean, but if he does, this entire world that you've come to know will cease to exist. What's tragic is how the world makes such a big impact on the player without slamming you with reams of dialogue. Link has a little girlfriend that wants to be a seagull. He wins a Yoshi doll for a baby. He trades an alligator a can of dog food for a banana. The mayor of Sim City gets catfished by a goat. Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2 is holding an underground concert. You crawl into a crypt to resurrect a legendary chicken. Where Twin Peaks was often dark and ominous, Zelda doubles down on jokes and humor, burying its darker elements much deeper beneath the surface. Just like a dream, Link's Awakening can be bizarre and illogical. Koholint Island may be the most idyllic place Link has ever been, but sometimes in life, the thing you have to do is the last thing you want to do, like waking up and getting out of bed. And that's why this is my favorite Zelda story.